Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the guy right here. The guy right here. Consider following me on social media. Consider subscribing and liking the channel because this is what I do. This is fun to me. And I hope you guys are holding yourselves accountable. I hope you guys are grinding. Real shit. Hope you guys are enjoying life, but also realizing that, yo, you don't got to be everywhere just because everybody there. You know what I'm saying? Because we living in some dangerous times. Shit is toxic. Shit don't make no sense. People are crazy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas are pussy too, but, you know, people are crazy too. But nonetheless, we back here. Back with another one. This episode, is it okay to have a preference of race? Interracial couples agree or disagree? Personally, I'm pro-black, you know what I'm saying? I like, you know, just to preference my comments. I do love the black women, although I do believe that everybody's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Just because I love black women doesn't mean I look down on any other race. I just, you know, it's just my preference. We all have our preferences, and that's how I want to approach this video. Watching these couples is going to be a little different, but I also do understand that people have their preferences, and you can't, like, listen, man, we just got to stop judging people for what they love. You know what I'm saying? Like, when did that shit ever become cool to just look at people and just always have something negative to say if they ain't bothering you? Let people love who they want to love. Let people grow. Let people experience life just like you. Like, it ain't none of our business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I be telling people. Like, don't tell me what you think of me, because it ain't none of my business. What can I do with that? But nonetheless, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Once again, consider subscribing because your boy's on it. I'm saying the goal is to get to 100 subscribers. And here we go. Let's see what this is all about, man. Shout out to Jubilee. I fuck with their content.
Freak stuff in the bedroom. If race sprinkles is put into that context, what do we think of that? Like
how would race be put into the bedroom?
Use your imagination.
All interracial couples think the same. Let's see some of these couples.
I have unintentionally been racist towards my partner. 3,
Oh shit.
2,
Unintentionally?
1,
Okay.
Go.
I've definitely been ignorant.
So we were.
Hold on, I don't even know who the couples are.
So we had an argument, and I was upset, and I had previously expressed how the stereotype.
Okay, so we have a gay
on
couple.
angry,
So it's like, all right, the black guy and the white dude are in the couple. That's an interesting dynamic.
the black man or angry black women, and how that makes me feel. And so we got into an argument. I was an angry black man. But in that moment of anger, he actually called me an angry black man, which
Which is like the worst thing to
made me
say.
go crazy because that was like the one thing, and I talked to him about. So, you know, that was a really bad fight, and it never happened again.
Right.
Angry black man. Is that triggering? Like, if someone called me, I know the angry black woman is something that's, you know, that's been publicized, and women hate that stigma that's associated with like they can't express themselves without being viewed as aggressive or angry, and it's very demeaning. So I understand that. Have I ever heard it pointed towards a man though? Is that like a stereotype? I've never experienced it, but okay.
I feel like, I mean, I'm strongly disagree, but I think as just a white person, I
Who's she
am
dating?
just inherently ignorant. So I think I'm gonna move to somewhat agree.
Wow, I love the transparency, but she was savage for that.
Dating a black man has completely opened my eyes more than I already thought they were open, you know?
Who's she
To
dating?
be fair, you've never said anything that made me feel like, damn, she's racist. You know?
I'm from the Bay. So,
Oh, so she's dating the black
It used
dude,
to be
okay.
in my vocabulary where I would say the N-word with the A. I would rap it. I would do just those things. But my slang in general would just tick her off. And then I became conscious of it, and I really liked her. Or I still do, of course.
Even in like, if I'm keeping it a buck, when I look at my upbringing, like the nigga was a thing. Like nigga is still a thing. It's a part of the culture. Honestly, I grew up in the neighborhood in Brooklyn where that word was used by all types of people, white, black, tall, or small. You didn't really have to be black to refer to someone as my nigga. And growing up, you could kind of like, we weren't really too aware of like racism. So like hearing it from other people, especially individuals that didn't look black, like we wouldn't really take offense to it, because it's like, if the person that's saying it is saying it with confidence, then we could kind of read off like, you know, their tone that they're not racist. We never viewed it as being racist. It's not until like you grow up and hear white people add that ER, you know what I'm saying, or just white people in general use that word. That's when we kind of used to get, you know, like shit used to pop off because of that. But naturally, it was just normal for everybody of all ethnicities to use that word. And I didn't really come across black women that were really uncomfortable with it until I grew up.
Of course, I love you. I started changing the way I speak. I feel like she should be over here too. She would do Asian accents.
The only time that I feel like I could be offending Asian people is when I'm mocking you when you're mocking your mother. So I only do the accent when he does it, making fun of his mom. Before that, I never did that, so.
Okay, guys, so we're gonna do something different. This is called hot takes, and basically we had our audience submit hot takes and assumptions that they make about interracial relationships.
Okay.
They're really hot.
Oh boy.
Sex gets steamy since you are interracial.
I mean, I think it adds to.
I like the
appeal.
differences between us. I don't
Yeah,
know.
definitely. I mean, there's not like any weird role play or anything. But yeah, definitely, you know, makes it fun.
I will say, like, when I'm not with you, people will like be like, oh, like, I know why you're with the black guy. And it's like, that's like super disrespectful, because it's like, that's like definitely like on the line of like fetishizing like a race.
There's not many sexual stereotypes about white men. But like walking down the street, especially dating an Asian woman, like I get looks from men all the time, and like, oh, like, you know, right?
I ain't gonna front. Whenever I seen a black man, and it doesn't happen too often, but whenever I see black dudes with like Asian women, you do kind of tend to look a little longer than you probably should, cause I don't know, because these people, like, they're so into their own culture. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, what examples could I use? Nothing's coming to mind now, but like whenever you see Asians, they're typically together. You know, like it's only honestly like black folks that really have no problem dating outside of their race, but usually the other races tend to stay in their own little habitats with people that look like them and come from the same communities. So whenever you would, you know, kind of see a white dude with an Asian, that's probably more normal than honestly seeing a black dude with an Asian, if I'm being honest. You know, just from my experience.
And like people like actually like calling me out while I'm right next to her.
Interracial relationships can be a fetish, and that's okay if it's love too.
Can be a fetish?
Even if you love the person, you just fetishizing that person is
feel like it
good at all.
devalues
Yeah,
it.
and you're devaluing the entire community in itself.
I think there's always room for growth, so I can understand if it starts as a fetish and then along, you know, the relationship, they actually fall in love with that person and they realize that, okay, it wasn't okay for me to initially just like you based off of that.
If it's between two consenting adults, the freak stuff in the bedroom, if race sprinkles is put into that context, what do we think of that? Like, it's just in the bedroom, or is it like possible to just keep it in the bedroom?
How would race be put into the bedroom?
Use your imagination.
It doesn't even matter if you're consenting or not, it's still wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to say that stuff, you want to do that stuff because of the stereotypes you have of those people. And that doesn't really sit right with me whatsoever.
I have always wanted mixed babies.
I have always wanted mixed babies. I thought about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, cause you know sometimes you just grow up and you see like a black Asian chick or like a black kid with like curly hair, and you always kind of thought he was just mixed. And honestly, growing up, you know, like it was kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But like they would always kind of judge the mixed kids because their hair looked different. Like the black kids would judge the mixed kids, right? Because their hair looks a little different. So if you're that mixed kid, you're standing in the middle of two different worlds, two different spectrums, where it's just like, hey, I'm too dark to be white, and I'm too white to be dark. So people just naturally wouldn't gravitate with you or normally fuck with you. So it would take these mixed kids, especially if you grow up going to public schools, especially because, you know, that's where the savages rely. It puts you in a situation where you're like walking the fence. Like you don't know who you are and stuff like that, or you don't know where you actually fit in. Growing up, I thought I wanted mixed kids because I've kind of the illusion was that they were accepted more than just being regular old black kid. But now, people ain't shit. People just have opinions for the sake of having opinions.
3, 2,
Who want mixed babies?
go.
Strongly disagree.
At one point in my life, I kind of wanted to have mixed babies with almost every race. I don't know if that's weird, but I just wanted, I'm real into genetics. I would like to see how my kids would turn out. And
In every race? In every race, he would want to see how his kids would turn out? Would I want to see how my kids would turn out in every race? I mean, shit. Can I say how my kids can turn out, period? Because I ain't got none.
As a mixed race person myself, you don't have a group of people to really be around. I mean, sometimes you connect with one side, sometimes you connect with another side. But for me, it sucked actually a lot. I've accepted myself. I'm black and proud. I love the fact that I have both of these cultures, and I really don't care. I just have to teach my kids that because of your skin tone, you either gain privileges or lose privileges.
Like, I've had people at work, like, we'll be talking about ourselves, and I'll show them a picture of Ivan, and they'll be like, oh my God, I totally wanted black babies, like, when I was, like, a teenager. And it's just like, this isn't Build-A-Bear, like,
Right.
this is a human, like, what the so.
And I actually have an 8-year-old
People think
mixed
like that.
child. It's been very challenging, but I've had to stick it out because I want to be a good father and I care about my kid. So
This isn't Build-A-Bear, this is real life. And in my mind, I wanted to have kids that was exactly my skin tone or very close to it and look like me, because I am conceited as well. Where the
Listen,
hell
I
am
am
I gonna find
conceited.
somebody to do that and it work out and they're just the perfect wife? I don't believe in that anymore.
It's funny because that was actually something we talked about when we first started dating. That became an insecurity of mine. I was like, so why are we dating? Because I cannot provide absolutely any of that for you. And so I understand, like I said, why he feels that way, why a lot of the black community feels that way. So I'm just glad that I'm accepted now.
That's an interesting point. You know, that's an interesting point, because being a part of the black community, I mean, your parents would tell you they just want you to fall in love, but you know, your parents has a lot of influence on the women you end up dating, one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? And you look at some of these interracial couples, and it's like, when you're a white woman dating a black man, like, I could see how uneasy it gets, because put the shoe on the other foot. Like, if she's visiting his home, like, there's a culture shock, especially if they're not from like the same neighborhood or the upliving. There's a culture shock. You're surrounded by a whole bunch of black folks, and on the other, like, I can imagine being him going to see her parents or having dinner. Like, I couldn't even imagine that world, because it's so different. It is so different, and you will have those blocks in your relationships where it's just like, yo, it's like, I love you, but there's also like a learning curve towards being with you. And a lot of people might not be ready for that learning curve. You know what I'm saying?
In our relationship for that.
I sometimes feel like I betrayed my own race.
I sometimes feel like I betrayed my own race by being in an interracial couple. I think that black dude is gonna agree with that shit. I can't speak for everybody else, but like, I know. Listen, I'm black. I know.
3, 2, 1, go.
Look at the black people. Look at the black people. Look at the black.
I
Like,
definitely feel like that, man. I feel like,
and it
especially where
sucks.
I'm from, I did my people a disservice by playing into that stereotype. And knowing what I stand for now, it's
Stereotype is called the snow bunny crisis. You know what I'm saying?
hard for me to feel like I'm gonna be taken serious in the future if I ever want to speak on controversial topics. My people won't respect what I say because, like, it doesn't add up, my views and stuff. And then I'm dating somebody outside of my race behind the scenes. I feel like I lose respect in a way.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And I definitely understand where he's coming from, because it's like, yo, I mean, they say there's no bigger sign of love than marrying someone that comes from your background, like your own people. Like, if you want to help produce and keep evolving your race and your nationality or whatever, it's falling in love with your people and having babies that look like you, because he is a black man. You know what I'm saying? So his world is completely different from arguably a privileged white woman. You know, the things that he has to deal with, whether it's like you know, just applying for jobs or confrontations with police officers, it's a completely different dialogue than it is with a white woman. And then when you have your own people looking at you sideways, like, yo, yeah, it's just crazy. Because why can't love just be love, right? Like, why does all this other shit matter? But it's Earth, bro. Like, I mean, all this shit does matter because this is the shit that we have to deal with. Like, why were we once devalued because of the pigmentation of our skin? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a
Me
good
growing
point.
up,
Damn.
like I was never
You
always
think
seen
about
as
it like
black,
that.
whether it was because of how I looked or how I talked or my culture. But then when I get with someone who's not black, right, they're like, oh, you're betraying us. Oh, like I get comments literally in my DMs being like, oh, Alex, you're not with us no more, right? And I'm like, do you want me or do you not want me, you know? It doesn't bother me if you don't want me, and I understand it is what it is, but don't pick and choose and don't nitpick little things, right? If you want me to be part of your community, then accept me for who I am. Don't say that because I'm half, I don't get to participate in certain topics or certain discussions.
That's true. That's true. And again, it's like, yo, I can't control this shit. I can't control that I'm mixed. You know, I can only control that I am who I am. Like, it is what it is. But people do not know what the hell they want. Like, I constantly tell this to my friends. Like, the goalpost constantly gets pushed back. Every time you meet someone's criteria, they always add a different criteria into the mix. So it's just like we're aiming for a goal that we can never achieve because things change every single day.
Being linked to another race has its benefits. 3, 2, 1,
Agree?
go.
I would agree.
I guess I feel like the word like linked kind of confused me because I feel like experiencing another
Privileges.
person's experience, like what their culture, like the way that they live, is definitely personally beneficial. But I think that like in terms of how others view me because I'm dating a white man, I don't find that beneficial. Like I feel like people might have like preconceptions about who I am because I'm an Asian person who's chosen to date a white man. Yeah, I had a question for, I guess, other people. Like, do you ever feel like being with a white person like could shield you from like discrimination, or like that they could like stand up for you in a certain context? Like if you were in like an altercation with the police or something, like would having a white person there, like,
sure,
right?
Sure.
It would be
In
helpful.
that sense, and that's what I kind of thought of when I heard the question and I was listening to you. It's just like, I don't know, even a customer service experience. I don't know, just random experiences where the person on the other side might judge me based on me being black, but you know, versus someone else calling, or you know, him calling, and you know, it's a whole different experience. So they might treat, you know, us individuals differently. So there might be a whole different experience based on just that.
I feel like an outsider with my partner's family. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we got a couple of strongly disagree, so they don't feel like outsiders. And the ones that do feel like outsiders, check them out. Is that three black people? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So I'm sorry, Grace. In our lives, especially today, recently, politics plays such a huge part in it. And because you come from a conservative household, that's different from where I come from. And it does make me a little bit uncomfortable to know that I'm gonna be meeting people and have to have close relationships with them, and they don't value what I feel like I value in my life.
He's actually the first black man I have ever dated, and the only person of color within like my family, just in of itself. And so certain members of my family,
You could read in his body language just like how vulnerable he's like being. Like look at his body
black
language.
man I have ever dated, and the
Just
only
hearing
person
her
of
say
color
that.
within like my family, just in of
You know, it's like
itself. And so certain members of my family, with the same political values as us, like had to kind of confide in me like, hey, we support you with whoever you date, like we're here for you. So it was interesting to kind of see the different sides of my family members that I didn't necessarily know.
When I met
parents will always tell you that we support whoever you date. Like I've kind of learned, if your parents don't know your partner's first name and last name, they don't really care who you really dating, man. Like they're just gonna keep things PC. You know what I'm saying? But in their hearts of hearts, you know,
met her father,
they stand
for the
by what
first
they
time,
know.
we were walking to get food, and we saw the Ronald Reagan Museum or something like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I love Ronald Reagan, right? And you can have your own personal opinions on presidents, but Ronald Reagan was like, he's like the main reason why black people are incarcerated. He's not a very good person to black people. So I was just kind of cracking up about that, and I was kind of awkward, and I know you kind of bit your tongue on that as well.
Yeah, it was hard to not say anything.
But I was thinking about saying something to maybe like be like, oh, I don't know about that, but I didn't want to like argue with your father on the very first day that I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very
Culture shock.
Yeah.
Culture shock.
I don't know if I can exactly truly connect with him because of that. He's a very nice person, obviously, and he makes me feel comfortable, but at the same time, I have to recognize who I am as a person.
I would say
And it's crazy, too, because we're just talking about two people in a relationship. And when you have to introduce, like, politics and your parents' views and how you were raised into the whole dynamic, it dilutes the water that you guys are trying to build together. Because it's like it should technically be about the two individuals. But when you come with two different upbringings, it throws such a wrench in the plan. It confuses. It murks up the water, man. Murks up the water.
Somewhat agree because with my partner's family, there's a language barrier. So I guess it's my responsibility now to try to learn the language, but sometimes when we're together, they're talking, I have no idea what's going on. So I think that's a bit of why I feel like an outsider, but other than that, I feel welcomed.
I wish we were the same race. 3, 2,
Who's gonna keep it 100?
1, go.
I'll start. I feel like that would just be the default easiest way to navigate through life. But definitely, obviously, growth happens when you're in interracial relationships. But yeah, that's kind of
Growth can't help but happen.
Or somewhat agree.
Yeah, I guess like you were saying, like I just feel like it would be easier in some aspects, and then for me, just like being mixed race, I have felt very like disconnected from my culture. So I feel like dating someone who was like Chilean or who was Korean would help me. But I also agree, like obviously, if you weren't white, you wouldn't be like you, and so I don't like wish that. And
The benefits outweigh like what I gain. It kind of sounds weird coming out because it's like, what do you guys get out of dating white people? But like white people, I feel like we learn a lot.
I think it's interesting that everyone's saying that they feel it's easier because I feel like it would be more difficult, me having a black man and raising a black family, that it would be more difficult if I was maybe with someone who was white, who could probably have benefits in other ways. I'm grateful for my husband and I love being with him.
Oh, they married.
And I think there's a lot of benefits just culturally.
And you guys, that is officially a wrap. And then we also got you some really cute merch.
Oh, nice.
Yo, that's interesting. Kind of like I said in the beginning of the video, I've always dated like black women, with the exception of high school. I dated a Spanish chick one time, but I wasn't culturally woke like I am now. And honestly, like the black dude, when he stood up and was just talking about like, yo, it's hard for him to have like these strong political views because he's dating the white chick, because it's like, yo, his family would look at him, or people would look at him like, yo, you're not really for the cause, because here you are in a relationship with someone that's not like us, that doesn't look like us, so they don't know what we're going through, and you're willing to commit your love to. Like, I get that. That shit was heavy, man. That shit was heavy. And I think subconsciously, as a black man, I've always kind of thought the same, where it was just like, it's not to say that other races aren't beautiful, but, you know, like black women are the least married women of all races, you know. And I've always kind of said to myself, like, you know what? I want to raise my kid by a black woman, because, you know, I'm a black man at the end of the day, and that's kind of like all I know. Watching these couples, it opens my eyes a lot to just the different conversations that take place, whether it's political, whether it's racial, whether it's just like a background check. Like, you know, I'm used to meeting black dads, you know, who look at you a little funny whenever you're dating their daughter, like, you know, like, what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, really get pressed on some Martin and Lawrence and Bad Boys 2, you know. But that's what I'm used to, you know what I'm saying? I'm a culture guy, like, I'm comfortable around black people. I don't know how I'd be dating, you know, a white girl or Asian girl or anything of that background. That'd be a little uncomfortable for me. And so you could kind of see it in some, just them just, you know, sharing their backstories. But all in all, love is love, you know. Love is love. And it's crazy that you have to deal with that. But, you know, every relationship has its twists. And, like, to be able to survive, like, just the whole background differences, like, if you're able to really build a family, like these two right here, I eventually ended up getting married. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I didn't really know mixed interracial couples go through like such awkward moments, man. Shit is tough. Leave people alone. Mind your business. But nonetheless, it's your boy Evan King, man. I love Jubilee, man. I like their content. It's your boy Evan King. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you guys are getting into the bag, doing whatever it is that you set your mind to. It's hot. It's beautiful. It was basically summertime. You know, shout out to the GOAT. Shout out to the GOAT. We might participate in some activities. You know what I'm saying? We might participate in some activities and expect to see another episode. Mamba out.